Final Fantasy, a much-loved franchise that has spanned multiple games across a 36-year window, which is insane. And within these entries, there's been main titles, spin-offs, a kart racer, shooters, battle royales, rhythm games, card games, and then game with a story game? And over the 36 years that it's been around, the marketing teams have had some interesting ideas, and in this video we're going to look at a selection across some of the largest and strangest that have come out of that marketing team. If you ask any RPG fan for a top 10 list, chances are at least one of the series entries is going to be in there somewhere. And we're going to take a look at these in a chronological-ish order. Square Enix, formerly Squaresoft, have had so many collaborations and crossovers over its history, it's probably hard to cover in one video. But Samdolf will be Samdolf and do his best anyway. So grab your Phoenix Downs and ride your shoe puffs. This one is gonna get weird.
Ride the shoe puff? All aboard?
The first and potentially earliest big drive of Square and Sony's campaign boom was actually a collaboration with the Pepsi company. Kind of ironic considering Barrett's disdain for corporations there. This main drive consisted of products that, from my understanding, consumers would send in coupons after purchase of Pepsi products and send them in. Uncle Pepsi would then send them this promotional cup featuring mirrored artwork of Cloud and Aerith. There were also standees used in supermarkets and cinemas in the US, and these came in two different sizes, Diet Cloud and Cloud Max. Having a quick scout at bidding sites and you'll see that they seem to sell for silly money now, anything between a few £100s up to the thousands. The art has actually been doctored a little. You'll notice the obvious missing piece here is Cloud's main weapon, the Buster Sword. Instead he's doing a little wave like the royal family do instead. Probably a decision from the Pepsi company is to not have a sword-wielding soldier trying to sell the children their products. Smart move, Pepsi. Around the same time was a campaign with American retail outlet Sears, where you could cut out a voucher or coupon for a free t-shirt and $10 off a copy of the game. This ran from September of '97 through to October, so you could wear your sword-wielding Cloud shirt and drink from your swordless Cloud cup. What a wild year. The next big campaign was actually 2 years later, and it was in 1999, around the time of Final Fantasy VIII's release, when it was ready to hit the shelves. Square and Electronic Arts had partnered and announced their partnership with the Toyota Motor Company for the chance of anyone that had placed a pre-order could be in for a chance to win a 2000 Toyota Echo. There were 4 vehicles up for grabs as part of this campaign, and it's not actually clear to this day if anyone won. There's rumblings and things of people claiming that they won, but there's no solid proof. In 2019, Kotaku's Tim Rogers actually tried to solve the mystery, but came up with nothing. The only hint came from a figure from Electronic Arts at the time who suggested that it was likely the winner did indeed claim the cash prize alternative of $10,000. Why they decided to go with this 2000 Toyota Echo, I don't know. It also wouldn't be the first time that Square actually tried to give away a car as part of their promotional campaign, but we'll get onto that later when they tried it a second time. Picture it, Squall Leonhardt driving around in his 2000 Toyota Echo. I'm sure you can't, and neither can I. I love that advert so much. It's really fun, it's punchy, and it's just great. This was the start of the partnership between Squaresoft and Coca-Cola, and this is when they joined forces in this marketing campaign to try and bring Final Fantasy figurines that were attached to Coca-Cola products sold in shops I think this was done in Japan and America. We didn't have them over here in the UK. And they did different waves of like a blind bag type scenario. And inside you would get one of the different characters. And these could have spanned from 7, 8, and once the last 5 playable characters were announced for Final Fantasy IX, they became part of it as well in Volume 2. They announced Volume 3 and they eventually included the Final Fantasy X lineup. Now, Volume 1 consisted of 24 style figurines, 12 from 7, 12 from 8, and there were 2 versions of each figure. There was a coloured one, which was kind of painted, and there was a solid red crystal version. Ooh. Now, in 2000, Coca-Cola also ran a sweepstakes as well, and it was around the Christmas time. Coca-Cola and Christmas are kind of synonymous here in the UK. They've got the big truck, you've got Santa driving it, and it runs every year. However, in Japan, they ran a lottery-style giveaway, and there were a lot of prizes up for grabs, and they were all themed around Final Fantasy. The big one was the special box, which I'm excited to talk about because I actually own it, and I'll chuck up some pictures and stuff. It's really cool. You also had a Griever-themed mini-disc player from Final Fantasy VIII, and it was made by JVC. It was limited to 5,000 pieces. It has the Griever symbol embossed in the metallic plate on the front of the player, had the Final Fantasy logo in the corner, and the Coca-Cola logo on the back. The earphones had the Griever symbol on the outside, and it looks great. There was also another, it was limited to 5,000 units, and there's actually another prize on that list I can't find any information about. It looks like a phone. If anyone knows or has any more info, chuck a comment down below because I'm really curious to hear more about it. If it's a phone, it wouldn't really surprise me. It's not the first time that Square tried to run a marketing campaign around a phone or a collaboration, but again, we'll get onto that later.
You don't have a phone?
And then you had the special box. It was limited to 10,000, and inside you had a collectible case. It had the Coca-Cola logo on it, and it was a display case for the figurines. You had 36 figurines with yellow bases instead of the red bases that were found in the blind bags, which I guess made them special and the most sought after. You had a videotape, 2 t-shirts. You had a black Shinra Electric Power Company one, and a yellow chocobo one with like a foot stamp on it. I think it said something along the lines of, "I've just been kicked by a chocobo," and I've still got this back at my family home. It's very cool, and it's really cool to own. And it had a small hardcover art book as well. But this wasn't the end of the Coca-Cola marketing campaign, because oh no, in 2000 they also released some special edition black label bottles which featured both Cloud and Squall, the 2 notable protagonists from the 7th and 8th installment on the front of the bottle. They look very sleek, they're very nice. Again, we didn't have them here in the UK. And then they also released clear museum art cards, I think they are. And again, these were only available through this promotion. They were clear, they had some of the characters on, you had some from 7, majority from 8, and again, they look very cool if you're into that kind of thing. I know that they ran the museum art card collectible thing as well, but these were different, and I think that this was kind of the start to see what the demand was like for that type of product.
(
2004, the Panasonic Foma P900IV in conjunction with Final Fantasy VII Advent Children. Cloud needed a phone, I guess. What I will say for this advert is the organ is tremendous.
Ideas for life.
This is where things start to get a little weird, like I mentioned at the start of the video. This one, not too bad, but it's a long partnership between the Japanese drinks company Suntory and Square. Started in 2006, just on the cusp of Final Fantasy XII, and to commemorate the near release of Final Fantasy XII, Suntory made what is described as the Final Fantasy Potion, and they were a drink that is described to have a unique taste, sweet but at the same time possessed a bitter herbal aftertaste when poured. The following year in 2007, it was the 10th anniversary of FF7, and they made the Anniversary Potion. It looked a little bit different to its blue counterpart, and it was limited to 77,777 sets. That's a lot of sevens. But also included was a booklet called the Final Fantasy VII 10th Anniversary Ultimania, and and a Final Fantasy VII themed 9-inch bottle, which looked pretty cool. The drink was supposed to be inspired by Sephiroth and his, and I quote, isolationism and beauty. It contained Dolomite, Royal Jelly, and B1. Then they also released a set of normal potions which were in a can, and they were basically a soft drink. The artwork contained all the characters of 7, and honestly they look pretty cool. I'm pretty sure you can still buy the sets, but they're kind of expensive, and they would do this again a year later in 2008 for Dissidia. When I think of Final Fantasy XIII, I think, damn, that's a lot of soldiers. If only they had a way to get out of there really fast. Oh, how could they do that? Oh, maybe a car. Yeah, a car makes perfect sense. And that's what we got. Instead, we got the Nissan commercial. And look at it. You know, they're escaping all those guys with their car. Their nice car. I don't know. This is one of the stranger ones. I'm not sure how Final Fantasy really sells a car. I guess it's a little bit like the campaign we saw earlier. It doesn't really make much sense to me. And yeah, it's just a bit strange. But I wouldn't even argue that this was the strangest marketing for Final Fantasy XIII. That actually comes from an interview, from The Telegraph, a UK newspaper, which was a Q&A with Lightning herself, talking about Louis Vuitton and what being a fashion model has been for her. I don't remember her being a fashion model. If they wanted to interview someone, they probably should have interviewed, Yuna, Riku, or Pain with the different dress spheres, but that's by the by. But it was such a strange thing that they would give this virtual character her own personality. She answered the questions as though it was her. An example of this was in talking about Louis Vuitton designer Nicolas Casqueri, with helping her change the way that she sees herself. Her answer was, "His collection fills me with a sense of serenity and pride. Perhaps I'm finally learning who I truly am." It's a bit odd, and I can't imagine that many UK audiences, especially readers of The Telegraph, would have really known what the hell was going on here. We're slowly getting there with all the promotions. Next up, we move into Final Fantasy XV. And this is without actually mentioning just the sheer level of product placement in this game. We've got the wedding dress designed by Vivienne Westwood. American Express has company logos on shop windows. We've got Nissin Cup noodles, which is, well, everywhere. You've got them as costumes, you can eat them at camp, and then you've even got the noodle truck that you can see in Lestalem. That's a lot of noodles.
Made me appreciate cup noodles even more.
And I hate to say it, but it's not the first time that Noodles and Final Fantasy made a crossover, but we'll get to that later as well. We are back in safe territory of cars again. We've got the Audi R8 Star of Lucis. And it's a very nice looking car, and this one does make the most sense out of all the other car giveaways and promotions and adverts that we've had so far, because you spend probably 40% of this game in a car. It's the opening scene pushing the car. Everything is about this car, and it's very nice. Can understand this one a little bit more. Clearly they went, there's a car in this game, and the marketing team went, well, let's strike up that brand deal. The next one we have is in the form of a Japanese TV miniseries that was released on Netflix called Dad of Light. Now, you could look at this as a marketing ploy to try and advertise Final Fantasy XIV. It explores a father and son coming together over a mutual love of Final Fantasy XIV. Interestingly, Square Enix actually gave the production team access to their own server, and that was so that they could control night and day and get all of the shots that they wanted. It's not actually a bad little series. I haven't seen the film version that came later, but if you haven't checked this out, I recommend it. It doesn't take that long, and it's a nice little binge. The next one was for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and features a questionable Sephiroth in fox ears. for the Dombe Udon, which is again another Nissin product, so clearly the relationship between Nissin and Square was well favoured and probably brought in a lot of sales. The last one we're going to be taking a look at in this video is the partnership with the Tower of London for Final Fantasy XVI. Yep, that's right. The prestigious Tower of London was roped into this big marketing medley. For exactly 1 month, you could go to the Tower of London and you could look at an authentic replica of Clive Rosfield's sword, who is the main protagonist of the game. This was a partnership with the Royal Armouries, and it gave fans a chance to look at the Invictus sword. For those who aren't familiar, the Tower of London is a little bit expensive, and personally I think it's probably a lot of money to pay to look at a replica of a sword. But hey, that's just me. And that brings us to the close of this big old list. I hope that you've learned something about some of the questionable choices. Leave a comment down below on what the craziest one was, or if I missed any, or even if you have any information about the mystery phone looking device from the giveaway. I have been Samdolf the Grey, thank you so much. If you haven't done already, please drop a sub. This video has been really fun to make, it's been on my list for however long, and it's been an absolute joy, so I really hope you enjoy it. Until the next time, where I'll be back to my usual antics, and it won't be as much of a gap in between, I promise this time. You say that every time. I know. Uncle Sam is sorry. Stay safe and travel well.